All right, so I was on the way to the office this morning, and I have an office that I come to every single day, even though it's just me that works here alone. And obviously, I have people come visit and team and clients and stuff like that. I come here pretty much every single day to work, and this could be a video in and of itself of having a space where you just come to hunker down, you just come to focus. It's awesome. When I look at the times in my life when I made the most money, I had the most fulfillment, I was the most focused, it's always a time that I had like a dedicated space to come work. So it's kind of just like a rule of thumb mine. I have to have a dedicated space, and it can't be like an at-home office or like a spare bedroom that you turn into an office. It's good to have one place that you go, that you hunker down and that you work at. So that's the psychology behind the office. Maybe that's a video for another day. But close to my office, there is a private airport. Look, private airports are dope. I'm not saying this as like a flex. There's a story that's coming here. Normally, the planes that fly into this private airport are like propeller planes or really small, like janky looking planes, like planes that you and I probably wouldn't even want to get on. But it's people that, they're hobby flyers. Maybe they were in the Air Force and, they retired and they bought a small plane and they fly it around, which is kind of cool, right? But it's normally just like small, shitty planes. But today, it was a little different. There was a Gulfstream that flew in, and I always get to see them fly in. It's always very cool because I'm looking at them, and normally they're like going crazy with turbulence, and I'm just like looking at it, like waiting for something bad to happen. And today, this Gulfstream flew in. And the only reason I even know about Gulfstream is because of Grant Cardone. He had the Gulfstream, maybe still does, and he used to always flex it and be like, I have this Gulfstream, and you don't have a Gulfstream. But I'm looking at this Gulfstream, and it was so cool because it was just beautiful, and it like wasn't shaking at all. It was like no turbulence. It was just like flying in. It looked so badass. It literally looked like something that Bruce Wayne would fly. And for a moment, I started to feel bad for myself. And realistically, like these are thoughts that you have to audit because your brain is so powerful that you can go down these like deep rabbit holes in your brain. So the inner bitch that lives inside of my brain that we all have. Some of us have a really big inner bitch that lives in our brain. Some of us have a really small one. I like to think mine is like medium-sized, right? So my medium-sized inner bitch that's in my brain is saying, well, why don't you have a Gulfstream? And you should feel bad for yourself because you don't have a Gulfstream, which is such a ridiculous thing. But realistically, we all do this, right? Whether it's about a Gulfstream, whether it's about a girl, you see some guy in Miami that's got a really pretty girl and you're like, why don't I have a pretty girl? You see somebody with a nice car, you see somebody a nice watch, you see somebody even with a fucking nice t-shirt on. And you're like, well, why don't I have that? That inner bitch in your brain is telling you, you should have that thing, even though that's a lie. At the point where I am in my life, I have not done the work or even really come close to doing the work to deserve a Gulfstream plane at 25 years old. I just haven't. And there's some people out there that have, realistically, not really many people in my age bracket even, but I am not deserving of a Gulfstream plane. Nothing that I do in my life, I am not the person that deserves a Gulfstream plane. And I want to dive into this for a second because most of you don't think this way. Most of you just think like, oh, this guy over here has a Rolex, or this guy over here has a Lamborghini. I should have one too. And you see everything through this really entitled, selfish lens where it's like, oh, since they have it, I should have it too. And maybe this is the way we're raised. You're raised to share. So it's like, if you're in kindergarten and Jimmy is playing with a toy, well, Jimmy should let you play with his toy as well because we're supposed to share and that's how we're supposed to be. But once you become an adult, really once you reach the age of like 18, that's not how the world works anymore. The modern world, when you're an adult, Jimmy has the toy and he plays with the toy because he worked and earned the toy. And you don't have the toy because you didn't work and earn the toy. It's very simple. We don't understand this because we still look at life the way that we did when we were kids. And this is where like the inner bitch starts telling you that you deserve these things, even though you have done nothing at all to deserve these things. Because the guy, presumably the guy, maybe it's a woman, but the guy that owns the Gulfstream, number one, is probably double my age at a very minimum. But he has probably done so many things that I haven't done or am unwilling to do in order to get that plane. And that is why he has the plane and why I don't have the plane. And at the end of the day, this is how you have to start to see the world. Don't sit there and look at things that other people have and envy them, because realistically, you probably are unwilling to do the work that they did in order to get the things that they have. When you start to adjust your mindset to think this way, you're going to be much happier and much more fulfilled with the things that you have. And it's going to make your goals a lot healthier, because rather than looking at the Rolex, it's like, oh, I have to climb this uphill battle to get this Rolex. You're looking at it like, who is the person that I need to be in order to get the insert thing? You start to look at your life as, who do I need to be in order to get this thing? God has a sense of humor. And so right after I see this Gulfstream fly over and right as I'm starting to feel bad for myself, all but 60 seconds later, I'm driving on the highway, mind you. There is a homeless woman on the side of the highway, walking down the highway, I kid you not, with all of her belongings in one of those totes. But you know how there's some homeless people that look like not really homeless, and there's some people that look super homeless? Like, that's how this lady looked, right? She looked like she had seen better days, and God bless her, like praying for her, hope she turns out. That is such a perspective shift. You're looking at the plane, you're thinking, why don't I have the plane? And then you're looking at somebody who's in a much less fortunate situation than you, and it brings you back to reality because you realize, yeah, I don't have a plane, but my life could be so much worse. So realistically, like, things are all about perspective. And like, I hate to sound like Gary Vee here because I think it's such a corny message, but it is a very true message. If you make $50,000 a year in America, you're not like wealthy by any means. In the perspective of the world, you're a very wealthy individual making $50,000 a year when you look at it at a worldly view, right? In terms of averaging out across the entire income of the world. So what you have to understand is you need to look at things with perspective, and you need to realize, like, when you're on this journey of self-improvement, you're on this journey of self-development. A lot of people that watch the videos are entrepreneurs. A lot of people that follow me are entrepreneurs. Yeah, you want to strive and you want to keep going for the next level. Like, it's a good thing for me to want to have the Gulfstream because that means I'm going to keep producing. That means I'm going to keep moving forward. If I keep moving forward, my clients are going to get better results. My team is going to get better results. They're going to make more money. Like, everybody's going to be happier if I keep moving forward. I'm not playing in a game where only I win. I'm playing in a game where everybody can win. Realistically, you have to realize how far you've come because I have so many things in my life. This watch is a phenomenal example. When I was 18 or 19 years old, I would have killed for this watch. And now it's just my watch. It doesn't even really mean anything anymore. And I'm on to the next thing. Now it's a Patek, or now it's an AP or whatever. And you have to understand that when you're on this journey of self-improvement, yes, you need to strive to get better, to improve, to become the man that you're, called to be. But you need to also realize there are many people out there that are much less fortunate than you. And some people have a very cynical view of this, right? And even me, at some point in my life, I looked at it the same way where it's like, well, I'm in a better spot because I made better decisions. That's how a lot of people look at it, right? Oh, this person's homeless because they made bad decisions and I'm not because I made good decisions. Well, it doesn't always work out that way. Some people, like we talked about with poker, get dealt a bad hand, and maybe it's not that they're dumb or that, they're a bad person. They just didn't play the hand right. And, they landed in a less fortunate situation. But remember, like, that could very easily be you, with a couple moves that you might have not made or did make. And you maybe watch this video and you're in a very bad position watching. The way I would think is, like, you can always level up, but realize how far you have come. When you're on this journey of, like, success and self-development, you're always looking forward and you're very rarely looking back to how far you've come and actually being grateful for the things that you've done and the person that you've become and the character that you've been able to build through, this journey of self-development, whether it's starting a business or, going and kind of backing yourself and doing your own thing. Maybe you're like a commission-only sales rep or whatever. Remember though, you've come very far on your journey. And rather than just looking at what you don't have and what all these other people have that you want, rather maybe look back for a second and realize there's many, many people out there who are in a much less fortunate situation than you. Maybe people that you can help, people that you can give back to. But like, I guess the ultimate message here is be grateful and put things into perspective. Because if you're only looking forward and you're only looking at what do I want and these people have what I do want, and you're never looking at other people who are in a less fortunate situation than you're never going to be very grateful. And that's why you have to be super careful with only striving for things, right? When you're looking at, I only want a jet, like that's all I care about, or I only want a car, or I only want to watch. You can put yourself into this position where you're like never happy. And then you get the thing that you were going for, and then you realize like, this doesn't really fulfill me. This doesn't really satisfy me. Because you're so attached to the outcome, you forget that the fun part is all the stuff in between. So like this watch means less to me about the watch. It more tells me who I had to become in order to get this watch. Because this watch could go away, right? This watch could be gone tomorrow, but I will still be the same person, the same man that was able to get this watch. That's the perspective that you need to have, is like, who do you need to become? And get obsessed with becoming that person. Then you will be happy. Then you will be fulfilled. And look at the other people who are in a much less fortunate situation and be grateful for what you have. Even if you're in a position right now, you're starting a business, and let's say you're starting an agency, and your agency isn't doing all that well, but it's still enough to feed you. It's still enough to pay the bills. It's still enough for you to work full time on it. Well, be grateful. Be grateful that you're not having to wake up at 6 a.m. and go work some shitty job with a boss that you hate. Like, be grateful for that opportunity. Be grateful that you can even sit down every single day and focus on running your business. And I did a lot of very awful things to scale my business. Not awful in terms of like unethical things. I mean, I did a lot of outreach. I did a lot of sales calls. I did a lot of calls with clients. I did a lot of stuff that I didn't want to do. And the only thing that made me continue to do that for years was because I was genuinely excited. I was genuinely excited about the person that I was becoming and the things that I was going for and the things that I was striving for. And this is why a lot of people who only have material goals, they never stay in it very long. If the only thing you want in life is a nice watch, well, when that alarm clock goes off and you need to wake up and you need to go make cold calls or you need to go do prospecting or whatever it is, like insert whatever thing you're doing. Maybe you're a landscaper and you got to go mow lawns. You're not going to get out of bed to get a freaking Rolex. You're going to get out of bed to strive for who you're trying to become and the man that you're trying to be. That's what's going to get you excited. So a lot of rambling here, but the lesson in this is be grateful for how far you've come and be careful when you're looking at people who have what you want, and understand that those people that have what you want, maybe they've had a little bit more time than you, but realistically, they've probably done things that you're unwilling to do. And by only looking at them and only looking at the stuff that they have, that's going to make you very unhappy. Look at the things that they've done and replicate the things that they've done and the level of work that they put in. And then you getting the toys, you getting the fun stuff becomes inevitable because you're matching what they did to get those things. And if you stick at it long enough, you as well will have those things, regardless of what those things are. It's different for everybody. Somebody's watching this video right now and really wants to buy a Tissot PRX. Great watch, by the way. Great beginner watch. And like, that's what they're striving for. And that's awesome. But don't get so focused on the outcome that you forget about how fun the process can be getting there. Because if it was just easy, if all you had to do was start a business tomorrow and you get all the things that you want, everybody would be doing it. It wouldn't even be fun anymore. So sometimes the struggle is what makes this stuff fun, because you build character and you become a better person on this journey. And while you're doing that, don't forget about the people who are much less fortunate than you, people that haven't maybe played the hand in the right way, or maybe they did, they still made good decisions and it didn't work out for them. This is rambly. I hope what I'm saying actually makes sense here, but put things into perspective, be grateful. The biggest lesson is that it can always be worse. Yes, it can always be better, but it can always be worse. Hope this helps. Hope this puts things into perspective for you. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff. I will see you in the next video.